Hi guys, I'm Diwa from Wiser Biker and today is bike building day. Now this is the part 2 of our gravel bike building project. And if you haven't watched the part 1, do check out the link above. Technically, it should be a straightforward project of just putting all the parts together. But because this is a old frame and we have some parts and components that we have never tried before, so I do expect a little bit of hiccups here and there. Hopefully it is not major and we can still build the whole bike smoothly. I'll start with the frame. Okay, so there's no major issue about this frame except that it is a little bit dirty and there are some stickers. So we have got a old headset here mounted on the frame itself, and the bearing is actually quite dirty, and this is the open bearing headset. Well, I do have a new headset prepared, so it's fine. I'm going to remove this. Let's start the cleaning. Okay, so the bike frame now is washed and clean and dry. It looks like pretty new right now. Actually, I'm quite happy with the condition now. But I do have to remove the headset and bottom bracket now. Okay, next step I'm going to install the headset. Okay, first the bottom is done. Next the top. So before I put the bearings, I'll put a thin layer of grease on the bearing cups so that it will be easier to service the next time in case I need to remove the bearings. This headset bearing that we have here is just a normal steel bearings, but it's sealed on both sides, so it is more durable and it works better. It's really smooth. It sits just nice. Perfect. I will not be cutting the fork yet. I will just try after I've adjusted my suitable height for the handlebar, then I will cut the fork. Okay, next I'm going to mount the handlebar. So if you don't want to take out the bracket, you can just slot the handlebar in. Okay, handlebar is on. Next I'll mount the shifters. For now, I'll just hand tight it a little bit. I will still have to do a lot of adjustment, so I'll leave it as it is. The shift levers are on. I'm going to put on the derailleur as well as the brake calipers before I route the cables. Okay, so for the LTWOO GR7 rear derailleur, you need to remember to turn this knob all the way so that it actually touches the B screw. This is for you to adjust the B limit later. Very smooth thread. Now I'm going to put in the brake calipers. Our fork tool comes with a mounting point for the brake calipers, so we do not need to use this bracket. So all these screws, I will just leave them there loosely without tightening them for now, because I just want to route my cables to the correct length. Now I'm going to route the shift cable as well as the brake cable. So instead of the normal brake cable housings, I have this from ZRACE, and they are actually advertised to be lighter, which indeed they are lighter. This is a good time for me to experiment with them as well to see if they really work as good or even better than the normal type of cable housings. I'm going to put a barrel adjuster here as well. This derailleur doesn't have a barrel adjuster. Now this LTWOO GR7 rear derailleur is actually quite straightforward, but there's no barrel adjuster here, and the cables route from the bottom and there is a guide. Just follow the cable guide here. So it's quite straightforward. Through here and tighten the cable. So finally I inserted all these fish bones onto these cables, and now I just have to tip them up, route them around the handlebar. Even though it's really difficult and troublesome to put this thing on, but it does look quite nice. Right, the cables are already up. Next, I'm going to install the bottom bracket and the crankset. Usually all these new bottom bracket that comes with the crankset, they don't really have sufficient grease inside. So what happens is that the grease are very light. So when they have such a light grease, it's not so durable. I will add on more grease. Alright, so I've got most of the parts fixed on this bike. Next, I need to have my wheels set up before I can tune the rest of the things. Okay guys, how do we install a tubeless tire? First, install the rim tips. Just make sure the tips are fully stick on. Next is to install the valve. This is the tubeless valve, and insert it into the hole, this mini hole that we have just created. On the other side, we can put our lock ring in. Now we got the Continental Race King. We will insert one side of the wall. Now we're going to install the other tire wall in. Now that the tires have sit fully into the rim, I'm going to pump it up first before putting any sealant, and I'm going to use a normal bicycle pump. Oh, when you hear the sound, that is good news. It means the tires are being forced outward and they sit tight onto the rim walls. Next, we're going to inject the sealant. Before that, we have to release the air. Remove the valve core. Turn the valve to an angle of 7 o'clock. And inject the sealant. Insert the valve core. Rotate the tire so the sealant can fill up the whole inner wall of the tire. Now we pump it up. Again, we rotate the wheel to let the sealant fill up. And that's it, we are done. This is how you set up a tubeless tire, and you can use a normal pump. Alright, the tires are ready in, and next I'm going to install the cassette as well as the brake rotor. Right, the wheel's ready, and I'm going to install it now and tune my derailleur as well as the brake. So you got to be very careful with this because the pulley wheels are narrow white pulley wheels, so they have narrow white teeth. So I got to make sure that my chain fits correctly onto the teeth. So the chain is long, yep, we expected it because this is the original chain that comes, it's a new chain. So I'm going to have to cut some link off. Okay, looks fine. Okay, I'm going to pull the brake cable, adjust its tension, and just make sure that the disc brake is not scratching the rotor when I'm doing this tuning. Okay, now the brake. Tension is a bit off. Okay, so I need to set the limit screw correctly, otherwise the chain may just drop off if I shift too hard. Okay, not enough tension. Glad I've got a barrel adjuster here where I can just adjust the tension a little bit. Let's see. There you go. Oh, the indexing is surprisingly good. With all these spaces, this height should be enough for me to play around. So I'm just going to cut off this excess now. Okay, so I'm finally done building this gravel bike, and well, it actually turned out quite smooth in terms of the building process, not much of a hiccup. The most time-consuming process turned out to be installing these fishbone cable housings. I mean, you gotta really put this link in one by one. It's kind of like a sewing session for me. But well, it just turned out the bike looked really awesome, and guess what? The weight is really out of our expectation. It is just 10.7 kg. And it's aluminum bike. So the next time round that you see me on this bike will be out for a fun ride to test the performance of this bike. Well, there are actually a lot of things that I want to test on this bike because gravel is so new to us. Like, well, I really want to test out these tubeless tires, as well as the GR7, the LTWOO GR7 Groupset 1x10. Okay, so this is the end of the part 2 of our project of repurposing a mountain bike into a gravel bike. So far, I'm really happy of the result that we have here. Of course, we have to go for the outdoor ride test. So if you liked this video, do remember to give us your support by liking it, and remember to subscribe and hit the notification button if you haven't, so that you know when we go out for a ride and you'll be notified. We will tell you about the performance firsthand. Let's go!